What's good, everybody? It's your boy back with another reaction video, and I will be reacting to 3 scary new house horror stories. This is from Mr. Nightmarish. I'll put a link in the description down below this video so you can go check out his channel, show him some love. His videos, he had really good narrations, really good kind of. It's not really a creepy voice, but it's just more like he talks very like slowly, and like he keeps the same like tone. So it's eerie. It's like when someone talk, they never change their tone, it never goes up or down. They just talk the same and they talk slowly. It's kind of unsettling, I should say. So it's just perfect for his horror stories. And Nightmare Files does the same thing. He has a deeper voice, but he kind of does that too, almost like it's like a very steady tone, and he talks slowly, which I think prior narration, you need to make sure that you enunciate your words. You need to speak clearly, so make sure people can hear you, because especially if you're doing something where it's people are just listening to your voice, you need to, and they're not able to see you. I'm sure that's why they put these pictures or up and little small videos or whatever on there, to give you something visually to look at as well than just looking at a black screen, just listen to someone talk. But yeah, you need, like I said, they need to enunciate their word and speak clearly and slowly so people can understand what they're saying. So it makes sense, but it definitely, in a horror narration type setting, that type of tone and the speech is very eerie, I should say. But anyway, I don't want to talk too much, 'cause I've been talking way too fucking much at the beginning of these videos. Oh, my back's starting to hurt sitting there. I need to get me a chair. Yeah. But I have a chair, but I don't like the angle where my camera is. I like this angle, sitting on my bed. It's up higher. But yeah, I don't want to talk too much. I've been talking for more than 4 minutes at the beginning of each video. Keep forgetting, because I'm filming this on OBS. I can just pause it without it being a fucking nightmare to edit. But I keep forgetting that I can pause it and talk if I want to. But I'm also trying not to talk too much during the video. Plus, I don't want to pause it too much, because I know that can be irritating when people do that. Like, I've seen reactors do that when they watch different stuff and they'll pause it. And it could be irritating, but it can be also irritating if you talk over it constantly as well. But it's a delicate balance. But anyway, let's just get into this. 3 scary new house horror stories. So, I don't really have any new house horror stories. Never had any issues in new houses, new apartments, or whatever. Well, let's see. Other people have horrible experiences. So, here we go.
I bought my first house that I currently still live in 2 years ago. I was in the unpacking and settling in phase. At the time, I was single.
I wonder if all these are going to be like supernatural type stories.
House. I had a couple friends over to help me unload the truck full of boxes, and I paid them with food since they wouldn't accept money.
They hung around for a few hours. If you offer money, I'd accept the money.
When my friend Dale went to the bathroom, he came back and said he heard some noises from inside the walls, and that it sounded like there were some pipe issues. I took note of it, and the two of them left a little later. Since it was a Saturday, I stayed up pretty late on my laptop watching Netflix. However, I was hearing some light thumping sounds from above me, which was odd because my bedroom is upstairs. The only thing that could be above me would be the attic. Then I remembered Dale's comments about the noises from inside the walls.
It's probably just a
I went
raccoon.
to the attic door and pulled it down, and I actually had to take a deep breath because I
Well,
was a
this
bit
is
nervous.
a horror story, so it's
I
gotta
climbed the
be
stairs
a
into the attic
human.
and pulled the light switch down. One very dim yellow light buzzed on, just barely lighting up the attic. The noises in the walls stopped though. Either that, or the noises just weren't coming from the attic, I imagined. With no boxes up there yet, it was just basically a big empty space, and I could clearly see no one was up there. The only things in the entire attic were a couple giant framed paintings leaning on one of the walls. I went back down to my room and tried to get some sleep, but I heard the noises again. Now I started to fear there was a small animal on the walls, like a raccoon. The sound still seemed to be coming from directly above my room. It had to be in the attic. So once more,
But he just said he
I went
didn't
up
see
into the attic
anything.
and looked to where I thought would be directly above my bedroom. The thing is, the attic didn't seem to extend the entire length of the house, so there's a wall covering where the section above my room should be. I walked over to the wall just to listen for potential noises, and I did hear noises from the other side of this wall. Then I looked at the two paintings leaning on the wall, how they were slightly angled. My heart started to race. I walked to the paintings and slightly angled one upwards off the wall, revealing a big hole in the wall.
Oh boy.
It took a few seconds for the reality to sink in.
Somebody's in there.
As I held the painting at an upright position, the painting was suddenly pushed out of my grip to fall flat on the floor. I nearly had a heart attack. Out from the hole came this sickly-looking girl. She seemed to be high on something.
Sheesh.
She was shaking, making weird noises, and she would start this creepy laughing. She grabbed onto me and dug her nails into my shoulders so hard I screamed, and I pushed her as hard as I could
I'd
off
have
of
snatched her ass out that
She fell
hole,
backwards
through
into the
her,
secret room.
through
and
the
I ran
roof.
to the exit and shut the attic door behind me. I locked myself in my room as I called the police and reported that a crazy, dangerous person was in my attic. Cops arrived within 5 minutes. 3 cop cars ended up pulling up, and there were a total of 5 police officers in my house. 4 of them went into the attic, and I heard the struggle.
The fifth
The
was
girl
I ain't going
screamed
up
like
there.
a creature, and it sounded like she was trying to attack the officers, which led to her getting tased. They finally managed to get her in cuffs and carry her out of the attic and outside to one of the cars. The girl had to be like anywhere from 25 to 35 years old, but like I said, she looked sickly. While the officers were still in the house, I went into the attic to examine the secret room. Inside was a pile of blankets, a dirty pillow, a lot of food wrappers, and human waste in one corner. It seemed as though this girl had been up there for a long time. It was truly a nightmare to discover this on my first night in my new house. The girl was taken to a nearby psychiatric center to get her the help she needed.
I'd have grabbed her ass and went through the roof. As soon as she'd have touched me.
My dad helped me buy my first house when I was 28. I was never spoiled, but my dad always had a lot
Oh,
of
that
money.
was nice of
And
him.
when I wanted a house, he lent me a large amount of cash. The previous owners of the house were an elderly couple. As far as I know, the husband died many years before I moved in. The wife died just a few weeks before I bought the house. The son of the couple who sold me the house kept a lot of the furniture in the house for me, and he took only what he really needed or wanted, which made things easier for me, less furniture to buy. I did dump some of the more outdated stuff on the curb though, including this old rocking chair that was sitting in the living room. A lot of the furniture just had
Ooh,
an
ghosts
older,
don't like when you
creepy
get
vibe
rid
that I
of
didn't
rocking
want in the
chairs.
house. The next day, I was cleaning out more junk in the upstairs
That
section
chair
of the
looked like
house
it'd be
for most
hard
of
to
the
get
day.
out of.
A lot of it was heavy lifting, so I'd take breaks in between, and this ate up most of the day. I didn't really get an ounce of sleep the night before, as I have a mild form of insomnia which affects me certain nights. That second night, having moved into the house, I went out to get some Chinese for dinner because I had no energy to cook. When I got back, I was disturbed to find the front door was unlocked. Now, I truly don't remember if I had simply forgotten to lock it or not.
Ooh.
I wanted to believe I forgot, but it just seemed so unlikely I'd
Just
forget to do that,
check your
especially with my
house.
brand new house. I started flicking on every light of every room on the
Yeah.
main floor. The more light, the safer I'd feel. I then proceeded up the stairs to do the same there, in the common area and in all 3 bedrooms. There was also a basement to the house that I'd only been down inside once at that point. It was not a big basement like you would expect though. It was kind of just a small storage space where the washer and dryer happened to be. I was already feeling a lot more confident that I had just simply forgotten to lock the door, but I still had to check the basement before I could confirm this. I opened the basement door and I flicked on the light. As I got halfway down the stairs, I saw an old rocking chair sitting in the middle of the basement. I didn't remember it being there the first time I saw the basement, and when I stood over it, I could swear it was the same rocking chair I had thrown away the night before. If not the same one, at least an identical one. I looked around the basement though, and there wasn't anyone down there, so I did calm down just a bit. I headed back upstairs to eat my Chinese food. I remember leaving the basement door cracked open though, which sat right next to the kitchen, and I started hearing rickety, creaking sounds from downstairs. I ran to the basement door and I tried to turn on the light, but it wouldn't turn on this time. All I could think was, what the hell was that noise? I went to the kitchen to grab my flashlight from under the sink, and I went a quarter of the way down the stairs with the flashlight beaming down to the bottom, and I saw the rocking chair moving, and someone was sitting in it. It was an old woman with gray, curly hair, glasses, and she was dressed in a pink nightgown. Her head slowly turned to be looking up at me. I gasped and left the basement, closing the door.
I wish it would the chair was like facing the other way, and her back was to him, and also her whole head turns around without moving her body.
And we didn't find anyone.
Turns around like 180 degrees
down there where she could have escaped through. At a certain point, the cops started looking at me like I was crazy. I knew it, and pretty soon they left. I had the contact details of the son of the couple who owned the house before me.
Like, should we tase him and take him, to the psychiatric ward?
He sounded shook and started to cry over the phone, and said I just perfectly described his mother and her favorite nightgown. He said he'd be right over. He got to the house within the hour, and we went downstairs together. He seemed to be in shock the whole time. I could see his hand shaking. He ended up leaving with the rocking chair after a while of talking with me and being very emotional. It may have been emotional for him, but it was the scariest thing I could have possibly ever witnessed with my own eyes. It still stands to be. I kept the basement door locked 24/7 after that, and I'd be scared to do laundry for months. But after half a year of nothing happening, it wasn't that bad. I only lived in that house a year and a half though.
They get you money to buy a house and you only lived there a year and a half. I'd be like, hey, I gotta deal with ghosts, so I just don't.
When I was 12 years old,
don't make a lot of noise when I'm trying to sleep. That's all I ask.
Located near a small village. We'd always live in rural areas, definitely very private. On the second night at that house, our dog Parker, who would sleep in my room, started barking and growling in the middle of the night. When he saw that I sat up in my bed, his tail started wagging, but he'd continue to bark and growl. I couldn't tell what he was looking at though. He was just looking towards the corner of the room. I checked the closet and nothing, so I told Parker to shut up, and he did. But I did keep hearing him lift his head off his bed every once in a while, reacting to something.
Go
The
check,
next day,
motherfucker.
an older man came and knocked on the front door. My dad answered while I was in the living room watching cartoons. I heard the whole interaction. The old man introduced himself as Gene, the next door neighbor. My dad told me to come over and introduce myself, so I did. Gene seemed very kooky and aloof. Even my 12-year-old self could realize that, but he seemed nice, I guess. The next day,
If you have to say somebody seems nice, you guess.
My dad
they're
was in
probably
the front of
not
the house
nice.
mowing. The rest of my family wasn't home. Oddly enough, over walks Gene wearing a farmer's hat and overalls, talking to me in his thick southern accent, asking what I was up to. He actually sat down at the table with me, which made me uncomfortable, especially considering he just walked into our backyard. Albeit there was no fence separating the front and backyard, but still. I told him I was playing Pokemon.
But
he knew
Gene,
what it
can
was,
you fuck off?
immediately making
Thank you.
Pikachu noises, trying to be funny. But it was just unsettling.
Yeah, that's weird.
I started to realize there really was something off about this guy. My dad came to the backyard with a lawnmower, then turned it off when he saw Gene sitting next to me. He approached us and said hello with a smile, but I could tell based on my dad's face and tone that he was slightly confused what he was doing in our backyard.
What the fuck are you doing back
He
here,
never
my
asked him
son?
that, but my dad told me I needed to go inside and wash the dishes. I knew he was trying to get me away from him. A few minutes later, my dad came in and asked me if Gene just walked into our yard, and I said yeah. That's when he told me he didn't want me around that guy anymore, and to let him know if I saw him again. It wasn't until a few nights later that I woke up to Parker
Gene is
growling
like,
and barking.
I will not be
This time I was
denied.
looking at the window. I got up to open the window just to hear if something was going on out there. Quickly after opening the window, without seeing anybody out there, I heard Gene imitating Pikachu noises again in his creepy old man's voice. I ran out of my room screaming Dad
Pika,
repeatedly.
Pikachu.
When I told my dad Gene was outside my window, he stormed outside to check.
I'm like,
When he
about to
couldn't
beat
find
his
him on the
ass.
property, he went to Gene's house next door. But here's the twist. That Gene guy didn't live next door. An older woman answered the door and had no idea who he was. So my dad went to every single neighboring house, and nobody had ever heard of a Gene. My dad called the police to report the man. Police said they would be on the lookout for him, and it even
So
made
he's just
the
some
news.
random dude wandering
We
around your
never again
neighborhood?
saw or heard from Gene, or whatever his real name was.
Probably some drifter or something. Well, that is creepy. It's like, they're like, he doesn't live here. Who is that? It's like, we don't know who that is. Like, dude, who the fuck is Gene? Where is Gene? That would be creepy. Like an adult, just some random adult, especially when you just met. It just comes in and just sits down and like, I never felt comfortable around children without their parents being there. Like, no, I don't like, I don't like. It just always seemed weird to me because I don't think I would ever do that. If I have kids, I would never. At least I don't think I would. Like, I would just leave my kid with, unless it's a person that I know and trust and have known for a little while, at least a few years. And okay, I might leave my kid with them or something like that. But it wouldn't. I don't know. That's like, I would never just randomly walk up. Even if I just met this kid and their parent, I just walk up and I just see their kid and just walk up and just start talking to their kid in their yard or something like that. Like what? Like I'd be like, can you get the fuck away from my kid? like that's just, this is weird to do that. I had a hard time doing that as a kid. Like walking up, like I saw another kid, like walking up and just kind of trying to spark a conversation or be friendly or something like that. Like, hey, you want to play or something? You know, cause we both at the park together and we may not know each other. You know, I found that weird as a kid. So yeah, you damn sure I find that weird as an adult talking to a child. Even as an adult talking to another adult, like trying to do just sparking up a conversation. I'm like, I don't know that, but it's so easy to come off creepy when you're awkward. If you're an awkward person, it can come off. You seem creepy when you talk because you're just awkward and it's hard for you to have verbal interactions with other people. But definitely not as an adult. It is weird. Like some adult. You know, you had to be a random adult. Like I said, he already met that kid, but then you just come up and sit down, like trying to spark a conversation when their parent isn't right there. You know, I like you come over there like, hey, is your dad home? Your mom? Like, yeah, they're in the, there, and I can go get them. Like, all right, you there to see an adult, not to see a fucking kid. But yeah. So anyway, I said I ain't gonna talk too much in this. Hope y'all enjoyed my reaction. If you did, make sure to hit that thumbs up button down below. Sure to subscribe if you're new here. Hit that bell. You may be notified when I upload new videos. Comment down below. Share this video. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.